What's going on, everyone? Per reports, the Los Angeles Lakers are looking to trade the 17th pick, which I think all of us knew. I have been very adamant that I believe the Lakers are going to trade the 17th pick. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't potentially draft somebody, right? It is very possible they don't find a deal by draft night, right? So they could end up drafting, let's say, Zach Edey, right? They could end up drafting a Zach Edey and then using him in a trade later on down the road, right? So that's why I keep saying if there's somebody that you really like at 17, don't get too comfortable with that person, right? Like, we have the talks. I love it, right? Made a whole video on, Ware versus Edey, which I'm fine with both of them, right? If we land Zach Edey, I'll be pumped. I think Ware is a little more kind of fit for the modern NBA, but still, either one I'd be thrilled with. Don't fall in love with either. Don't fall in love with anyone else. Because if you do, you're probably going to be very disappointed because I believe that they're going to trade the 17th pick. And there continues to be reports that they are actively looking for a trade for the 17th pick. But the more surprising thing is that the Lakers are interested in potentially trading to move into the top 5. Now, a couple things, right? First off, what would it cost and what would it take to move into the top 5? Now, this draft is looked at as a draft that isn't going to have any superstars. This is a draft that's looked at as pretty weak, especially after the top 3 to 5. And there were already reports and talks about the Lakers potentially looking to move up in the draft period. And I said in that video where I covered that news is that unless you're moving in the top 5, it doesn't really make sense to move up. Because the guy, unless you're just that enamored with somebody at 12th, whatever, the drop off is not the drop off is drastic after the top 5, right? Maybe top 10. But I mean, after that, it's a huge drop off, and then everyone else is just kind of in the middle. You're just basically rolling the dice and hoping you land somebody, right? But the thing is, with such a weak draft, is compared to other years, it's probably not going to cost as much to move up, right? If you're a team that is trying to trade into the top 5 in a stacked draft, right? That might be a little harder because teams are going to value that more. But a draft where it's the 5th pick might not even be a star, it might just be a role guy. Well, then, it's not going to be as perceived as valuable. So there is that argument. Look, to me, I think that this is just due diligence, which the Lakers should. I mean, the Lakers should be exploring every possibility, right? Because what if somebody in the top 5 or something like that is hey, we really like Rui. Give us Rui and we'll give you, the 5th pick, right? Then you do that all day, right? Because now you got a real valuable piece that you could have long term. Maybe you could get somebody that, you get Clegan or something, right? And you're whoa, what just happened here, right? So I think that this, to me, kind of feels like a due diligence move. Even the report that came out about the Lakers looking to trade up, it also said in that same report they're also looking to trade back, and that they're basically exploring all their options. Which, again, if you're Rob Pelinka, that's what you should be doing. I'd be a little upset if that wasn't the case. Because, again, you have to at least ask. You have to at least inquire. Because, again, what you might think a team is willing to trade for that might not be what they're willing to take, right? We might think oh man, whatever, Houston wants a huge return, and it's oh no, they're actually pretty, they just give them Rui and you can have it, right? Again, I'm not saying that necessarily be the case. I'm just using an example, right? You don't know unless you ask. Worst thing they say is click, and then you move on to the next possibility, right? So I don't hate the idea of moving in the top 5, but even then it's what direction are we going here, right? If we knew LeBron was leaving, I might be a little more inclined to do something like that, right? If we knew for a fact. First off, I don't believe LeBron's leaving. I expect him to opt out. Expect him to drag out free agency because he obviously wants to put pressure on the Lakers. I think he sticks around. I also think the Lakers are going to hire J.J. Redick, which would signal LeBron sticking around even more. But let's say LeBron has already told the Lakers, like, hey, I'm going to go to Philly. Just letting you know. I just want to give you a head start. I'm going to Philly. I'm going to opt out. I'm going to Philly. Right? Again, I don't believe it'll happen, but let's say he said that to them. Well, if the Lakers know that information, because again, you got to remember, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So if the Lakers had that information and it's like, okay, well, what do we do now? Then I think that there's more of an argument to like maybe try to go get that future piece, right? Let's go try to get that guy, because also you got to keep in mind, the Lakers don't own their pick next year. So Lakers can't tank. The Lakers can't be in a position where it's like, oh, okay, like let's just, so it's like if we can get a guy now that we can build around for the future, right? Again, if we can get a Clegan, like then perfect, right? Like now you got your piece for the future. Or maybe if you trade into the 5th pick, maybe you can get somebody that is maybe more valuable than maybe a piece you have, right? So maybe, again, just using Clegan as an example again, right? Maybe there's reports that like Atlanta really wants him or something. So maybe it's like, hey, we have the 5th pick, like you could end up with the number 1 and the number 5 pick if you give us Trey or whatever, right? Like maybe you could work something out in that regard. But assuming that LeBron's going to still be on the roster and you still have Anthony Davis, I think that you should be doing everything you can to win now. And what it would cost you to go get the 5th pick, you could probably get a DeJounte Murray or, an Alex Caruso. Even if you can't get like an all-star level player, you probably could still get a really good player, right? Like the assets that it would probably take you to go move up to number 5, because you're not talking like 17 to like 15. You're talking 17 to 5. Now, unless you're keeping your 17th pick too. But then again, at that point, it's like, okay, well, that sounds like you're looking to rebuild here a little bit, right? Like, so to me, that kind of sounds like, okay, maybe LeBron's leaving, right? So to me, it's like, if you're, whatever, you're getting the 5th pick and you're getting the 17th pick and it's like, okay, well, we can get Edie and we can get whoever, right? Like, then sure. Right? Like, if you can get, Rizishay or however you say his name, right? If you get somebody like him and Edie, it's like, well, let's go, right? Like, wait a minute. Like, let's get it, right? So, but to me, it's like, I just think your goal and your focus should be trying to get the best ready-made talent as possible. And if you can get somebody that also helps for future, then you should, right? Like, that's why I like the idea. Like, even Trey. I know most of you hate the idea of adding Trey Young. I know, I get it. I have my reservations of Trey. I'm not super sold on Trey, but I think Trey is the most realistic option, and I think it's actually a real possibility it happens. But to me, like Trey, even with my like concerns about Trey, one, I think if LeBron leaves, he makes even more sense. But even if LeBron stays, he's somebody that helps now and raises the ceiling now, but he also makes sense for the future. Right? He's also somebody that's like, oh, him and Anthony Davis post LeBron can kind of be your 2 stars going forward, and you kind of already got that out the way. Now you have your 2 stars for the foreseeable future. Now you're just trying to focus on developing talent, right? So it's kind of like you get it done, you get it over with, so you can move on and do the other things you need. I feel like I'd rather you do that. Again, I think that this is just the Lakers doing their due diligence. It's how the report is portrayed. Even the one where, like, hey, the Lakers are looking to move up, move back. Again, it's just the Lakers doing their job, which is good. You should be doing your job. The 17th pick, I fully expect them to trade. Right? I believe the Lakers are going to trade their pick. I believe the Lakers are going to make some type of moves. Will it be for Trae Young or DeJounte Murray or Donovan Mitchell or whatever? That I don't know. But I do think that sooner or later they're going to make some type of trade. Will it be on draft night? Again, I don't know that for certain. But I do think even if they draft somebody, that person's probably getting traded. Right? In a perfect world, if you could draft Zach Edey and then still pull off a trade for like a DeJounte Murray, then cool, right? Like if you could land, an Edey or a Ware or whatever, and then also pull off DeJounte Murray, and then it's like, man, we got DeJounte Murray, Edey, maybe you go and sign a Royce O'Neal or something. It's like, oh man, like you start putting this stuff together, maybe take a flyer on like a Kevin Porter Jr. Now it's like, wait a minute, like the Lakers may be able to make some noise here. Now we're in business. But I think that this is just due diligence. I wouldn't hate if the Lakers moved in the top five. Obviously, it depends on what the price is. You know, if you're giving up the 17th pick and the 2029 pick and you're trading whatever Rui and whatever else to do, then probably not, right? But you know, also it depends. Like, are you getting players back? Could you do something where you're trading the 17 plus future first plus like Rui and Gabe, and you're getting back, you know, whatever, some player and the fifth pick or something, right? If that's the case, then cool. I wouldn't mind something like that. But like, you know, if it's something where you're just basically taking on like a bad contract and you're getting like, just that doesn't add up. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of trading and trying to get to the fifth pick? Do you think no, stay away from that? Like focus on, you know, the 17th pick or trade the pick regardless, right? You know, F them picks, trade the picks type thing. It's kind of where I'm at. But love your thoughts and opinions. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Now subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.